So we need to construct a polynomial with real coefficients that has -2 and 3 plus 2i as roots. So there's a couple things that we need to know in order to do this. And the first is that for a polynomial, if we have some number c as a root, then we know that corresponds to its factor x minus c. So if c is a root, then x minus c is a factor of the polynomial. And that's going to be really important and really helpful for us. So for example, we know -2 is a root, so if our number -2 is a root, then x minus -2 is also going to be a root. So part of our polynomial here that we're trying to construct will be x minus -2, or in other words, to simplify this, we can just say x plus 2, x plus 2. But then we need to find our other roots, right? And we could try doing the same exact thing with this, right? And saying, okay, x minus 3 plus 2i, and that's going to be our next root. However, if we multiply this out, we're going to have some terms with I, some coefficients of x that have I in it. And that's not a real number, so that doesn't fit the stipulation here that we need to find a polynomial with real coefficients. So in order to continue this, we have to remember one more thing. So this is not quite right, but we need to remember one more thing, and that's the idea of the complex conjugate, which is that for a quadratic function with real coefficients, if a plus bi is a root, then a minus bi is also a root. Okay, and now knowing that, we can do the same things here and solve for our p of x with roots -2, 3 plus 2i, and 3 minus 2i. So we'll have some polynomial p of x equal to x minus -2 or plus 2. We'll have x minus 3 plus 2i, and we'll have x minus 3 minus 2i. Okay, and now from here, I mean, if this is all the question is asking you, then we're done. But technically, we haven't confirmed at all that this definitely has real coefficients. And oftentimes, especially if you're doing this on a multiple choice test or the web work homework, you'll be asked to put this in the form of like ax to some power plus bx to some other power plus and whatever else. So in order to do that, all we really have to do from here is just multiply these factors out. And now this is really where like the brunt of the work comes in, because we could potentially slip up on some algebra mistakes. So it's at this point that you want to be extra careful, especially when we're doing the multiplication and the addition with the complex numbers. But this is the main idea here for problems like this. Number one, the roots correspond with the factors. So if -2 is a root, then x minus -2 is going to be a factor. And number two, if we have 3 plus 2i as a root, we also have 3 minus 2i. Okay, so all we have left to do would be to multiply this out, but we'll talk about that in another example.